Hello everyone, you're welcome to my channel. You're welcome to Decenstitch. If you're a new subscriber or returning subscriber, you're welcome. Please kindly like, share, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe and click the notification bell. Thank you. My required measurements are shoulder divided by 2 plus sewing allowance is 0.5 plus ease allowance is 0.5. Armhole depth plus sewing allowance is 0.5 plus 1 inch for my shoulder slope or slant. Armhole length divided by 2 plus side seam allowance 1 inch plus ease allowance is 0.5. Bust point length plus sewing allowance is 0.5. Bust divided by 4 plus side seam allowance 1 inch plus ease allowance is 0.5. Waist length plus seam allowance is 0.5. Waist divided by 4 plus dart allowance 1 inch plus side seam allowance 1 inch plus ease allowance is 0.5. Bust apart divided by 2. Jacket length plus seam allowance is 0.5 plus hem allowance 1 inch. Hip divided by 4 plus side seam allowance 1 inch plus ease allowance is 0.5. Neck width minus sewing allowance is 0.5. Neck depth for front, neck depth for back. Note: ease allowance is optional. I usually take fitted body measurements when I'm measuring my clients, so I need to add ease. But if you always take loose body measurements when taking your clients, then you don't need to add ease allowance. To pattern my shawl collar jacket, I'm going to measure 6 inches up here and measure 5 inches in front here. This is going to be my shoulder line. This is my center front, and it's not going to be unfolded. From the shoulder line, I'm going to measure my armhole depth. That is 7.5. From there again, I'm going to get my bust point length. That is 11 inches. Then I'll get my waist length. That is 18.5 inches. Finally, I'll get my jacket length. That is 27.5 inches. I'll connect my dots. This is my armhole depth line. This is bust point line. This is my waist line, and this is my jacket length line. From the center front line, I'm going to measure my neck width. I'll be using 2.5. If you're working with a bigger size for bust 40 to 48, you use 3 inches as a neck width front and back. For neck depth, I'll be using 3 inches for front. The neck depth can remain the same. I'll draw my round neckline. Next, I'm going to measure my shoulder, 8.25. I'll measure the same on my armhole depth line, same 8.25, and draw a straight line. On that line, I'm going to measure 1 inch, which I'm going to use to slant my shoulder. I'll connect the 1 inch to my neck width. After that, from the slanted shoulder to my armhole depth line, I'm going to get the midpoint. I have 6.5 here. The midpoint is 3.25 inches. From the midpoint, I'm going to measure 0.5 inwards. From the slanted shoulder, I'm going to connect it to the midpoint that I went in by 0.5, then into the armhole depth line. The bust is 10.625. The waist is 10.125. The hip is 11 inches. Here I'm going to go up by 0.5, come down by 0.5 because I don't want the curve to be sharp or pointed. From the tip here, I'm going to connect it to the bust. From the bust to the armhole depth line. For here, I'll be using my French curve. I'll be drawing it to the tip of the 0.5 I brought down. Then adjust my curve. I want to confirm my armhole. My armhole is okay like this, but because it's a jacket, I want the armhole to be free. I'm going to measure it. I need 10 inches. I have 9 inches here. To adjust my armhole, I don't touch this line because I don't want a funny look by the side. What I do is I raise this line up, and from this midpoint I draw a new curve. If I want my armhole smaller, if this was too big and I want it smaller, from that midpoint I draw it this way to make it smaller and connect it back to the side. If I want it bigger, I come down and draw a curve to my midpoint. I want to come down by 1 inch. That should give me the 10 inches I want. So I'm going to draw a new curve from the midpoint down. Now I'm going to confirm what I have here now. Now I have 10 inches. The next thing I'm going to do is to get my dart location. My bust apart is 3.5 inches. I'll measure it on the bust point line and on the waist line and on the jacket leg line. My front dart starts 1 inch before my bust point and ends 3 inches before my jacket length. I'm going to connect my dots from 1 inch before my bust point to the waist, then to the 3 inches before my jacket length line. The size of my waist dart is 1 inch. I'm going to put 0.5 on this side and 0.5 on the other side and draw my diamond darts. Now I'm going to draw my side darts. I'll be using 1.5. I'll divide it into 2. I'll place 0.5 on this side and 0.75 on this other side. The side dart starts 1.5 inches before my bust point or apex. I'll mark 1.5 inches and draw my darts. Next thing, I'm going to pick the bust point length line, which is the middle of my darts. I'm going to pick it, hold it at the beginning of the dart and bend it this way. My line here is okay. It's going to meet with this. In case yours will not meet with this, you take a ruler and connect it from that line back into the other line if yours is not going to be like mine and is not meeting. You draw it that way, then open it, and from that tip you draw it into the line again. So if your line is not going to meet after sewing your darts, you do it that way. So when you're cutting, you don't cut the old line, you cut the new line. For me, I'll be using my old line because mine is okay. The next thing I'm going to do is to determine where my break point is going to be. That is where my lapel is going to end. I like to put my break points in between my bust and my waist. You can place yours anywhere you want. I'm going to measure 0.5 here for my buttonhole. I'm going to measure 1 inch here. This is my break point. I'm going to measure 1 inch on the shoulder there. I use a ruler to connect that 1 inch to my new break point. Then I will extend the line. My extension here is going to be 4 inches. In case you are using 3 as your neck width, you are going to use 4.5, but my neck width is 2.5, so I'm going to use 4 inches. The size of your neck width will determine what you are going to use to extend that line. I'm going to use a set square. I'll let it rest on the line and draw another line. I'll do the same here. Let it rest on that line and draw the other line. In case you don't have a set square, you can use 2 rulers to achieve that. You place one on this line and the edge of the second ruler, you place it on the edge of the other one, resting well without space in between them. Then you draw your line. You do the same down there. Let it rest well on the other ruler, then draw your line. Here I'm going to measure 3.5 or 4 inches. I want mine small. I'll be using 3.5 here. I'll measure 3.5 down on this line too. I use my ruler to connect the 2 dots. Now I'm going to draw a curve. There are different types of shawl collar lapel. Some you can draw it like this. The curve is round and big. But the type I'm doing, I want ears small and pointed. I don't want the curve big. From the neck depth, from around that part where you have your neck depth, you start drawing your curve into the break point. Let it blend well into this line. This is my center back. This is my straight grain. When I want to cut this, in case you are using a pattern, remember you can cut this direct on your fabric, but if you wish to use a paper pattern, then you draw your straight grain so you will know how you're going to place it. Your straight grain is going to be parallel to the edge of your fabric. I'm going to cut 2 pieces of this. Now I'm going to cut it out. I'll start with my lapel. I'm going to cut this, my old line, because it works for me. But if the extended line works for you, then you cut through the extended line. I'm going to cut the slanted line. That is going to be my shoulder. This is my front piece. This is what it looks like. Remember, you can do this direct on your fabric. This is how my lapel is going to be. This is my break point where the lapel stops, like I said before, and this part is going into my back neckline this way. This is what my shawl collar is going to look like. For the back piece, I'm going to draw a line here as my starting point. From the line, I'm going to measure my armhole depth. That is 7.5 inches. Then I'm going to measure my bust point. My bust point length is 11 inches. I'm also going to measure my waist length, and that is 18.5 inches. Now I'm going to measure my jacket length. That is 27.5 inches. I'm going to connect my dots to get my lines. This is my armhole depth line. This is my shoulder line, bust point length line, waist length line, and jacket length line. This is my center back, and it's going to be on fold. I'm going to get my neck width. That is 2.5. Remember, if you use 3 inches for the front, you're using 3 inches at the back, but if you use 2.5 at the front, you're using 2.5 at the back here. The neck depth is 1 inch. Neck depth for front is 3, but neck depth for back is 1 inch. But the neck width, you can use 2.5 or use 3 inches if you're working with a bigger person. I'm going to get my shoulder. That is 8.25. I'm going to get 8.25 on the armhole depth line also, and draw a line. I'll be slanting my shoulder by 1 inch and connect the 1 inch to my neck width. I'm going to get the midpoint. This is 6.5. Midpoint is 3.25. I'll measure 0.5 inwards. Then I'll draw my armhole. I remember I went down by 1 inch at the front to get the perfect armhole. I'll do the same for the back. I'll bring it down by 1 inch at the back also. I'm going to connect from the slanted shoulder into the dot and into the 1 inch line. Now I'm going to get my bust measurement, that is 10.625 inches. My waist is 10.125 inches. My hip is 11 inches. So I'm going to draw a straight line, 0.5 up, 0.5 down, then connect the tip into my bust point length line and draw it straight up to the armhole area. I'm going to use my French curve to draw this part. I'm going to draw a light curve here. From the tip of the 0.5 I drew down, I'm going to connect it to the jacket length and use my hand to adjust the curve a bit, because it might look funny because of the 0.5. So I'm going to adjust it. Now I'm going to draw the darts. My bust apart is 3.5. I'll measure it on the bust point length line, on the waist length line, and on the jacket length line. My dart for the front starts, my dart for the back starts 1 inch above my bust point length line and ends 3 inches before my jacket length line. I'm going to connect it now. From 1 inch above my bust point length line, I'm going to connect it into the dot on the waist, then into the dot that is 3 inches above my jacket length line. My dart ends 3 inches before my jacket length line, like I said before. The size of my waist dart is 1 inch. I'll put 0.5 on this side of the line and 0.5 on the other side of the line, then draw my darts. Remember, for the side dart at the front, I used 1.5. So I'm going to mark where my side dart for the front is. I'll mark it on the back. The 1.5, I'll divide it into 2. I'm going to have a 0.75 on this side, a 0.75 on the other side. I'll do the same here. On the bust point length line, 0.75 up here, 0.75 down here. Then use dotted lines to connect the marking by the side to the marking by the center back. I'll do that for the 2 lines. I'm going to fold off these points. If I don't do this, my side will not align with that of the front. Also, there is no breast at the back, so I'm taking off part of the space where the breast occupies at the front. I'm going to use my ruler to balance here. Please, if you're not using a paper, this part you have to use a paper. If you're doing this part, if you're not using a paper, you have to draw this line on the front piece of your fabric, fold it off and use it to cut the back. But if you can't do this on the fabric, please, you won't be able to fold your fabric off this way. So use a paper if you cannot get how to do this. You have to draw this dotted line on your front piece, fold your front piece and use it to get the back piece. But if you cannot do that, then use a paper pattern. I want to confirm my armhole. I need 10 inches. I have 10 inches here. It's correct. I'm going to measure a 0.5 on the shoulder line from my neck width and draw it back into my 1 inch. It's very important to do this for your back piece. I want to measure what I have here. It's correct. The reason for using 0.5 is that when I want to join my front to this, I will need that extra 0.5 to join the collar coming from the front to the back. I won't be measuring 1 inch for the back. Remember, I measured 1 inch for the front. I'll be using just 0.5. I'll be taking out 0.5 for the back. The remaining 0.5, I'll use it to sew my collar that is coming from the front into the back. Now cut it out. I'm going to cut one piece of this, and this is my straight grain. This is my back piece. I already wrote center back here. This is my back piece. Please note, if you're using 3 inches as a neck width for your front and your back, when you are drawing this line, don't use 4 inches like I did. You're going to use 4.5 to draw this line so it will fit into the back neckline. Because I used 2.5 inches for my neck width, that is why I extended this line by 4 inches. If you're using 3 inches, you're going to use 4.5. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please kindly like, share, comment, subscribe if you're new here, and click the notification bell. Thank you.